Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Spiritual Psychics TV this evening. And we're coming in with a twist. This evening, what I would like to do is I'm going to be teaching live tonight and doing a bit of development with one of the mediums tonight. Okay, let's see who's going to come up and do a bit of development. Now, there's one thing we do know in this world, that we cannot question science. Now, everyone knows that we look at religions, we look at what's the afterlife, whether it be the matrix, whether it be a magnetic field, quantums, whatever you believe in spiritualism, every culture has an element of it. However, we cannot question science and how science looks at the brain as well when we connect with these other worlds. Okay? Now, we also know as well that when we are connecting, that we do use a part of the brain, which will be your unconscious brain, and it's the part that no one can touch. You can't touch it in neurology, you can't touch it in an operation. Philosophers have spoke about it, no one can touch it. So that's your thoughts. What's good, what's bad, why are we here? So, with that ongoing tonight, I'd like to go through the basics, maybe the four clairs, how we work with our senses. Do we hear? Do we see? But we see in our mind's eye. Okay, that's what we would call subjective when we call it clairvoyance. When I'm talking to someone or I'm seeing someone, my communicator, I'm seeing in my mind. So I'll give you what would the Paris, what does the Eiffel Tower look like? You'd have a picture there and then. Okay, what does Blackpool Tower look like? These kind of things, it's all pictures. And I could put it together like catchphrase, okay? A jigsaw puzzle. Then I'll hear words in my ear, which is maybe clairaudience, when I'm speaking to my communicator. But I won't hear a full sentence. That's far too much energy. Will I hear a name? Again in my mind. Just now and again, I will hear it out there very audible, which is objective. Okay, so inside the mind is subjective, outside is objective. We then work with the other one, which would be your clairsentience, and that's your clear feelings, your claircognizance as well. That's another one that's your emotions, the feelings of what your communicator feels. We never ever get hurt. That's what I will tell you. Now, we hear people saying, take that away, take that feeling away, take that illness or that ailment away. Would I say that does not happen? Yes. The reason being is what happens is your communicator will show a memory, and the quickest memory I can give you all just now is, have you seen a cooker with a red ring on it and we say don't touch? If you touch that, ouch. Or have you stood in a plug? Ouch. So the communicator plants a quick memory. That's why we would say ouch. Okay, so our brain has just already sent a signal to our body. Okay, but we certainly don't feel pain. So never think when we're talking to your loved ones, you're not feeling pain at all. And then again, like I say, there are a few other clairs, but I don't want to bombard everyone tonight with theory. But it's just basically, these are your basic four clairs. There are 8 altogether, okay? But again, like I say, without further ado, we'll stick to the 4. And if it's okay, Richard, I'd like to introduce Natalie. Oh, and we'll do the hellos as well. Sorry. Okay. Hello. I know. Richard is in my ear. Oh no. Well, good evening, Rebecca. I'm sure I've saw your name. Are you one of the regulars? Hello. Lots of love to you. Good evening, Bonnie, and how are you? Lovely to meet you. Okay, I'm just waiting to say my hellos, seeing where you all are. Okay, Jasmine, hello. And sending love back to you in New Zealand. Wow. Wow, beautiful. And I do love your picture. And hi, Elizabeth, all the way from South Wales. Lovely to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. Okay, and it's Marissa. Well, hello, Marissa. How are you? She's a medium, one of my students. Lovely lady. Thank you for joining us. Jodie. Hi, Jodie. How are you? Lovely to meet you too. Okay, there's quite a few of you in tonight. Hi, Kirsty. How are you? I do love that photograph you have there. Okay, I'm not even going to ask what you're smoking, but I do love your photo. Hi, Karen. How are you? Lovely to see you. She's a good friend, is Karen. Okay. And who do we have? Joanne Ripper. Hello, Joanne. Good evening to you too. Okay, and I hope you're well too. Hi, Terry. How are you? Good evening. Lovely to see you. I love that big smile. And Mr. Neil Payne, the one and only Neil Payne. Good evening. And I hope you're doing well. Okay, and now, Richard, thanks very much for that. And thanks everyone for saying hello. Without further ado, can we bring Natalie?
Hi everyone, hi Clara.
Hi, Natalie. How are you this evening, darling?
Yes, I'm good, thanks.
I'm good, good. Thank you. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, like I say, we're going to go live now, and Natalie's going to do a reading. Okay, and the way I work with Natalie is I already can see her communicator in my mind. Remember, subjective. Okay, now there is that what we call trust, where I can see, I can hear everything that Natalie's dealing with. Okay, Natalie works with what we call, she works with what we call the clairvoyance, the mind, but she also works with that clear sentence and clear cognizance, just a knowing, and she feels the senses that we spoke about, that ouch, I stood in a plug. Okay, so Natalie, I'm going to now link in with you. Now we say link in, again it's terminology, and I want you to see who do you have with you and start describing. Right, okay. I'll go into it in a moment with Natalie, sorry guys, but Natalie, tell us how you as well came to that bit of mediumship. What was your journey?
Yeah, well, I've always known that I could do this. I've always known. But it was actually during lockdown that I started going on to Zoom rooms, open circles, stuff like that. And I just sat as a sitter. But then I decided one day I was just going to start writing down what I felt, who I felt I had with me, and then gave it off, and it was all correct. And then I met yourself, Clara, and that's been a year and a half I've been with you, and you've just helped me develop since then, and I've learned loads. You've opened my mind to a lot of different things that I'd never known. So yeah, that's me.
When you say give it off, what are you giving off? Just to tell everyone, what are you really giving off? Is it evidence? Are you just talking?
No, I'm giving off evidence that I've seen in my mind's eye, that I feel. So like you said, the clear sentence and stuff like that. So I do work mostly with feelings, with memories. So I normally get, like, if I see a gran, it'll be my gran that pops up in my head. So yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, so you're giving evidence. What she's doing is giving evidence of that person, that what we would call a communicator over in the spirit world, okay? And as Natalie says, we work with memories, so she knows now she works with memories. How did you get that gran? I seen my own gran, so I know I'm working with someone's grandmother. Okay, and it does take time, as Natalie said, and the journey is long, but she just knew. Religion wasn't her thing. She looked at different cultures, and we do, believe it or not, we'll sit together and we'll look at different cultures, how cultures around the world work and connect as well. But again, the one thing everything boils down to is the brain, and where does everyone go? Okay, when we pass over. Now, anything else you want to add to that, Natalie? Were you nervous? Were you comfortable? How do you feel when you're reading?
Now, I think if I didn't feel nervous, then I'm not human. So it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. I think you're always going to be nervous, but I am comfortable. I am comfortable to give off what I get now and give off that evidence from the community.
And how do you feel being here tonight, live?
Was nerve-wracking. I am nervous, yeah. And I would like to know if everybody could actually understand her. Because that would be good.
Yeah, okay. And as Richard's kindly pointed out, thank you, Richard, the concept is for me to help develop newcomers working with the spirit world and working, communicating with the spirit world. We are working with communicators, but also it's developing that part where it's not your imagination. There's a difference between imagination to actually having a communicator. And also, it's like we can't always say spirit said this, spirit said that. That's when I would question that and say, who would the spirit be? Okay, so it's weeding out your imagination, weeding out is what's real, weeding out when we get into our brain, and that's something that Natalie's really worked hard with. Blood, sweat, and tears, just as you're doing anything else in life, education, it's the exact same. Education, education, education never ends. And being the same with me. Okay, Brenda, I've just seen your comment, lovely. Okay, but Natalie, like I say, she will get into do a reading. Okay, so if everyone can send her all your love, because this is quite a big thing for Natalie tonight. She's never been live. Okay, and it's huge for her. So if you can all send her love, send her warm wishes as well. Okay, and we'll get her going live very soon. Okay. Now, what else do you feel, Natalie, when you're working? See, when you have your communicators and you said your memories, how do you use the memories when you work? Do you just point them out, or do you have to work it out?
We have to work. Well, I have to work it out.
Right.
So I'll get a memory, and then I'll get a feeling, and I have to try and, like you said, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You have to try and piece together these different pieces of information that you're getting from your communicator and work out why they're giving you that, what is the reason for them giving you that, and what that means to the person receiving the message.
Well done, and that's exactly it. As Natalie said, we're piecing together the story of someone's life. Okay, so when your loved one is over in the spirit world, the other side, whatever you call it, we're piecing together that. Now, we don't always get yeses, and I have to point that out because sometimes we can be wrong. But that's up to us as a medium to get back and sort that out and say, right, okay, where did I get that wrong? Now, our communicator, they're very super intelligent, a lot more intelligent than us here, as much as we love to know we are intelligent. However, they will then show us another image, or like Natalie, they'll give Natalie another feeling. Okay, and then it's just constant communication. It's not always that we're chatting in our brain, it's just constant feelings, pictures, words, and there we go. We just have to keep going and going and going, and we will never say, I cannot take that back, because it's us as mediums, we're still human. Okay, and that's what, again, it's making developing mediums comfortable to know someone can say no. And the way I like to put it is, it's as natural as walking up to a coffee machine and saying to someone, would you like a coffee? No, there's nothing wrong with that. You're human. And then we just go back, work at it again to see why we get the feeling, what was the feeling for, and then we just, it can be like a maze, and we start working through our mazy feelings and pictures. But we get there, and this goes on every week. Every week without fail. There'll be the odd time we take time off because we need a rest as humans, and we cannot live this world 24/7. Okay, so big kudos to Natalie for being so brave tonight and coming on just to show how we work, how we develop, how everyone gets taught, but to show it's also comfortable. Okay, and Natalie says she's comfortable now, she's at that stage, and that's exactly where you should be. And thank you very much, Stacey. I'm trying to break it down as simple as I can and keep it as logical, because but not in any fairy world. It could be like if someone said, a feather dropped in my head. Now, from a science point or just a logical point, you would actually say, was there pigeons above my head? Is there white doves? If there's nothing like that there, then I'd say, right, okay, that would be a sign. Is there a robin out the back garden? Okay, well, robins seem to be always male when they come through. That's my dad, which I totally understand. However, is it the robin season? So it's these kind of things we look at, the birding season and things, or nesting, should I say. Sorry for all you discovery guys out there. Okay, so we always go to the logic before we decide this comes from the spirit world or other communicators. Okay, because we don't want everyone in their imagination every day. And it's like anything, if you don't believe in science, everything's magic. If you don't believe in magic, everything's science. So we bring both together. Or can we say mysticism? Okay, in other cultures, it's mysticism. And if you're Islam, you would be what we call a Sufi. Okay, Hindu, they bring different cultures together, 4 different cultures looking at ways. So this is how we work, and we look at different cultures because we have to be very careful that we live in a diverse world. We have to respect everyone's teachings, and we have that respect for everyone as well. So we welcome anyone, okay, whatever your journey is in this life. Then it's making it as simple as possible and being diverse as possible. That's what it's all about. And being kind, that's one of the most things. You must be kind when you're learning. And from a medium point, and Natalie, can you just say, like, what do you encourage about asking questions?
Ask them. Ask away. Ask away. So people say that mediums shouldn't ask questions when they're given readings. But if we don't ask questions, how do we know if you're receiving what we're getting is correct? So yeah, we do need to ask questions in a roundabout way. And you, as the person who is receiving that message, if you want to know something that we can give an answer to, then yes, we'll give it. If not, then obviously, if it's something beyond our control, then no, we can't give that message. We can't give you that answer. But yeah, that's how I feel anyway.
Yep, exactly. So it's like, just as Natalie says, ask away, because it's like being at school as well. If you don't know an answer, you would ask your teacher. Some people don't, they would sit back, then they would walk away and come back and say, I don't know that answer. There's nothing wrong with asking. That's the most learned people. Ask, ask, ask. And as Natalie says, you have to ask your communicator, your recipient, then would you understand that? Yes, no. That's a question in itself. We need that voice, or we need the writing, as we say in here tonight. We need that writing, yes, no, just to clarify and clarify what part we've got right or wrong. Then we can go back and correct that. Okay, but there's never no judging, because everyone's at a different step in their lives. Okay, and Natalie also, believe it or not, Natalie now helps me. She's starting to help me with the newbies coming in. And that's what it's all about, because she's been there. Okay, so, and that's the main thing. Make everything simple. As well, just quickly before we start going into readings, when we're working with mediumship, it's all about evidence. Okay, and Natalie will tell you, I am a I'm a bear, I'm a Nanny McPhee.
You're a bit of all.
Yeah.
You're a bit of all.
So it's all about, that's evidence of your communicator. What we would call psychic is what's going on around about your life. Okay, so evidence, your communicator. I have a mum here, mum would maybe have red hair, yada yada. Psychic is you went to the shops or you're looking at a new job. 2 different things. Okay, and that's the fundamentals you have to know as well. Okay, so without further ado, Richard. Hi. Oh.
Elizabeth. Right. Right, Elizabeth Jones. I do feel like I have a father here. I do know father would have been. He would have been a very family proud man, but I do know he did work a lot because I can see him working a lot. I also know that this man would have passed from an illness to do with the heart, because I am feeling my heart. I also know that Dad would have been a really happy, jolly man, because I'm getting that proper jolliness from this gentleman. And I also want to say that Dad, I'm not sure if Dad did, but I am getting the feeling that Dad did work with his hands. So I do want to put Dad in a very hard-working, I want to put him building. I want to say Dad was building houses and stuff. I can't remember the name of that. But yeah, I want to put him building houses. And I also want to say that Dad was very good at solving problems. I know that Dad, every time you needed something solved, Dad would fix it. Dad would have fixed it. And I also know that Dad did teach you how to ride your bike, because he's making me aware Dad taught you how to ride your bike. Dad did that. And you would also understand where Dad's making me feel that you did care for him near the end. Because Dad's making me very aware that you were there. You were there. And I also want to say there's some sort of certificate that you have of Dad's, and I want to say this is actually framed and put on the wall, because I could see this. It's put on your wall. Sorry. I also know that Dad would have been a very Dad knew what he wanted and when he wanted it. And I also want to say that Dad was very happy at the way his funeral went as well, because I want to say Dad's funeral was well planned. Even though I want to say it was quite sudden, the way it happened, I want to say Dad's funeral was planned well. And you've all come together as a family and you sorted Dad's funeral, and Dad was happy with that. But I am going to leave you a Dad love. I do know that Dad's given me the month of March, so I know the month of March would be significant for a birthday, because he's making me aware that March would have been someone's birthday. And he's also given me the number 25, so I know the number 25 would be quite significant. And I also want to put that as a date. But I will leave you with Dad's love. And thank you very much for allowing me to work with you.
Thank you, Natalie, and well done. And thank you, Elizabeth, for validating that, because that's the most thing that Natalie needs and any medium needs. It's just that validation, yes, no. Yeah. Now, Natalie, when you were doing that, and again, you heard her saying she can feel, she knows, so we know how she's working. What were you actually doing, though? So when you knew you had a dad, can you try and describe what you were doing, just for the audience?
So, breathing.
Yeah, because you were breathing.
Yes, breathing. So when I'm working, I tend to run away. Run away as my adrenaline kind of rushes. especially when I know I've got the link. So while I'm working, I'm looking to see what memories they're giving me. I'm looking to see what pictures they're putting in my head from these memories. I'm also looking at the feeling around me as well. And sometimes I do have an object that's sitting in front of me, and I do get quite drawn to that object, and I will be drawn to something on it, and I'll take that with me, and I'll work with how I'm feeling about that. So yeah.
Well done. So, and thank you everyone. If you can see the comments, Natalie, they are beautiful comments, lovely evidence. You've done well, Natalie. Thank you everyone, and that means a lot to Natalie. Natalie, if you can see the comments there.
Yeah, I can see them. Thank you.
Okay, and when Natalie explained that there, everyone, it's like she went with pictures in her head, the feelings in her head, and when she said that adrenaline kick, that's actually how we feel. It's like you get to know, oh, I've got my link, I know who I'm with, and boom, 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 the heart would start racing very fast. And funny enough, from a brain science point of view, when there's been testing done in the brain, when people, mediums are reading, the heart goes so fast, we should be clinically dead. Okay? The brain goes into what we call the Delphi state, we would be sleeping, and there you go, Natalie was very lucid, but her heart was racing. Okay? And she just rolled with that. And that's what it's about, never been afraid. Okay, you could see the visuals on Natalie. She was, so you knew subjectively she was getting those triggered feelings that go for the brain, as we explained at the very beginning. Now, anything else you want to explain about that? In fact, everyone, I think we would love to see Natalie do another one. Why not go for it? She's on the spot. Does that mean, Richard, can I have rest?
Debbie, I'm going to go with Debbie. Yeah. Yeah, Debbie Care.
Debbie Care, you're on up with Natalie.
Hiya, Debbie. Now, I do feel like I have Mum here. I do know that Mum would have been very poorly near the end. Mum is putting a cancerous condition on me. I also know that Mum was very, I want to say, before this diagnosis, Mum was a very happy soul. She was very happy. She was so giddy, so giddy. I want to say everybody was Mum's friend. I also know that when this diagnosis hit, I want to say Mum did take quite a big step in her mental health. I also know though that once those first few weeks kind of passed of that initial diagnosis, I want to say Mum's thoughts changed, and Mum, she did do everything she could to sorry, my accent. She did she did do everything that she could to make rights from wrongs, if you get what I mean. Because I feel like Mum just wanted everything to be perfect. She just wanted everything to be perfect before she'd go. But you would understand where you were there when Mum passed. Mum is still here, sorry, I missed that comment. So is it sister? Sorry. Right, sorry. I'll correct that.
Would sister be a mum then?
Yes. Yes. So I know from that then, because she's coming through as Mum, I want to say that sister would have been a mum, sorry, she is coming through with the word Mum. And from that, I do want to say that, sorry, I feel bad now putting mum on the other side. Sorry. Right, so I do know that your sister would have loved a jewellery as well, because I do know that there is jewellery left behind, and I do want to say of significance there is a bracelet, and I want to say it's a Pandora bracelet. I want to say this is a charm bracelet that's been left behind. I do also know that sister would have liked a drink before she was ill. She would have liked a drink, and I actually want to put a glass of gin in her hand. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Thank you. That makes me feel a little bit better. Thank you, Debbie. She was close to you like a mum. Right, thank you, Debbie. I also want to say that, was it a son that she had? Because I could see a boy. I could see a young boy. And I want to say this. Sorry. I want to say that this little boy would have dealt with this quite hard. I want to put him around 8, 9 years old. I might be wrong on that, so don't quote me. But I want to say he was around about 8, 9 years old when your sister had passed. Thank you for jumping mine too. Yeah, because I do want to put a glass of gin in her hand, so I do know she would have liked a snuggy gin. But she's also, sorry, what's my I do know that mum, I keep calling her mum, sorry. Your sister would have also, you would have liked to go to the pub with her. You would have liked a night out with this lady, because she's a very party animal. She's a very good party animal. She knew how to party. Bless her. And I also know that there would have been some roses at her funeral as well, because I do want to place roses down, and I also want to place roses on her coffin. So I know that there would be some roses placed on your sister's coffin. But I will leave you her love. She is coming through with the month of February, so I know the month of February would be significant. And I want to say this is a passing. But I might be wrong, so don't quote me. It's really difficult when there's that lad between you. But I will leave you her love, because it's all around you. And she's around her little boy as well, and she knows her boy's having a bit of a difficult time at the moment, because she's around him quite a bit. So thank you for allowing me to work with you, Debbie.
Wow. Well done, Natalie. Well done. And thank you so much. And everyone, honestly, well done to Natalie there, because that was hard going. And as Natalie said, you've seen how comfortable though she was, not feeling judged or anything, when it was like, no. You got to know from Debbie, and thank you for being so honest, Debbie, because that's what we need as mediums. We need that honesty, or we're waffling a lot of rubbish, and that's what gives mediums a bad name out there. So thank you so much. And when Natalie, when you got that no, you just went back there. What did you do then to correct that? Right, okay, so let's get down a wee bit of the mechanics here and the theory behind, just so that for anyone developing out there, you would see what we do then.
Right, so when I did get that no, I just went back. I went back in my head, and I just tried to jiggle about what she was giving me. And I got new feelings and new images. So that's kind of what I did there. And it is really hard not to let that knock you off.
Yes.
Kind of thing. It is really hard not to let that knock you off. But I think once you've been doing it for a while, the more no's you get, the easier it is to just pick yourself back up and correct it.
And that is beautiful evidence. And like I say, it's hard to pick yourself up especially when you're live. And this is Natalie's first ever live. Okay, she's done one platform event. She's done a few links out in the public, and this is her first live on TV, going live, and that's a huge thing. And what I love about Natalie is she's so honest. As a human, we all have that part where we've got pride and we can feel ashamed, but Natalie's so honest, and that's what we want when we're developing. Just be honest and say how you feel. And that was beautifully put there. And guys, as you'll all see as well, that is what we call evidence. Now, when Natalie will tell you, look, from the psychic point of view, we could say as well in psychology, from a psychological point of view, the Burman readings, things are going to get better for you. Okay, it's like, oh, I know you're feeling down, things are going to get better. Well, guess what? Normally, everybody at one point in their day or life feels like that. Okay, so that's the Burnham as after the 19th century showman. Okay, cold reading, you can see a sucker somewhere. Okay, and that is certainly not evidence then. So what Natalie gave was the story of Debbie's sister. Okay, yes, and she eventually, in her head, as Natalie said, she changed it and says, oh, it's a sister. I know she had a boy. And yes, we can ask now and again, and Richard picked that up, be careful. But it's that when we're learning along the lines, we have to keep going. But we'll say, right, okay, I'm maybe not a wee bit too sure. Do you know what? We're all human. And there's nothing wrong with that. The first people to annihilate us will be ourselves. Secondly, mediums. Thirdly, the public. Okay, but that's only a laugh. And thank you, Debbie, for that. We get annihilated. Yeah.
That comment. Thank you, Kylie, for having us.
Oh, there you go, Kylie. That's your cherry pop.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Right, thank you. Yeah, and thank you. And the most thing about this is, again, is asking questions. And from a medium point of view, yes, we'll ask logic. Do you understand that? Yes or no? Because we need to know that validation. But asking questions, would this be your mum? Would this be your dad? Would this be a granddad? Before you know it, we're waiting on an answer. It then gets changed to fit. Okay, and that is cold reading. That is then not proper mediumship, because we ask the communicator who we have. Now, if we even had a grandmother, and if Natalie had a grand, she could say, I have a grandmother here, but she took the role of mother. Okay, bringing someone up, they're not going to come through in a different blood link, unless it could be somebody adopted. But again, if they're adopted or fostered, that all comes into play, and you will see that, or you will hear it, you'll feel it. We can even smell. Okay, we've got all these kind of things. So it's so much to work with. It's just learning to bring all the tools together. And Natalie done that so well. And again, there's no telling anyone off. We're only human. But it's learning to accept we're human. And Natalie does that so well, and she shows
And I
that
suppose,
so well.
I suppose me asking that question there was me doubting myself as well, because I am only human. I am only human, and we do doubt ourselves every now and again. We do go into our own heads, and that's a very, very difficult thing not to do as a medium.
And well done again for showing that vulnerability. And that's what it is about mediums. We're human, as Natalie says. We need to show that vulnerability. We cannot walk about being so arrogant, because what goes up must come down in life. And we're never all the time. Now, I've seen a question from Millie. Now, Natalie, do you want to answer that? I'll give a bit and let Natalie. In fact, I'm going to let Natalie answer Millie first.
Well, I suppose it is different for everyone. It is different for everyone, in my eyes anyway. Some people develop quicker than others. Some people open their mind quicker than others as well. So yeah, I suppose it is different. For me, it's took me a year and a half to get to where I am now, through Clara's help. And I think it all kind of depends on who your mentor is as well, and if you can trust that mentor and trust yourself as well.
That means I'm Mary Poppins, everyone.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not Nanny Make tonight. And basically, as Natalie says, Willie, and I will totally agree with her. Everyone's different. And it's like going to school. How long does it take to learn at school? Are you receptive to constructive feedback? Now, there's giving feedback and saying to someone, you're wrong, you can't do it, you can't do this, without giving that solution at the end. And that's, again, part of your journey. Then are you receptive to that? You're saying, oh, right, I can look at this a different way. Some people are natural, how can I say natural artists? So they have that, what we call innate, they're born with that ability. That's the same with mediums, but someone can harness, hone it quicker than others. Everyone's individual. That's the main thing I would say. Would I say everyone's a medium? No. Now, this will cause a bit of controversy out there. Everyone isn't a medium for the simple reason, what if you're born with a brain injury? What if you're born with an illness? What if you're born with something you cannot physically hear, talk? You can't do anything. Yes, you may be able to connect to the other world. Would you be able to then do this publicly? So there's those many questions. One would begat another to begat another to begat another. Then we have to be careful of people's mental states. Are we in psychosis? Or are we in schizophrenia? There's so much behind it, and that's why everyone does not have the ability. Everyone has the ability to work with their intuition, your psyche, absolutely. But not everyone can tap into the other world. And I'll tell my students, and Natalie will verify this. Do I call it a gift? Absolutely not. The reason being is, how can we be favoured? Now, an easiest way to put that is Natalie has children, I have children. I've got one boy that's very mediumistic, the other is psychic. Would I say to one of my kids, you're gifted? But to the other one, no. It's not something you can do. Would you put people in that position to think they are totally unfavoured? Absolutely not. You don't know where they are in the world. Okay, Natalie being the same. Do you want to come in on that, Natalie? And Chris, I'll answer you in a minute, my darling.
Yeah, and like, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't call it a gift. It's definitely not a gift. Yes, it's amazing what we do. It is amazing what we do, and it is. I don't even know what I would call it. I don't even know what I would call it, but it's definitely, for me, it's not a gift, because I just feel like the word gift makes it feel like these are all less fortunate than us, and that's not how it is in my eyes. That's not how it is at all. But yeah, no, I'm not sure what I would call it.
See, and I just try and keep it simple now in terminology and ability. Like, we can't all be artists. Not everyone can play the piano, and people say, well, if you practice long enough, yeah, but I may cripple my fingers, I may have broken fingers. Then could I read music? So you've got everything that goes on. You hear the Beethoven stories, you've got everything. But yeah. And Chris, coming to the Clara, can people who suffer mental illness have the ability to develop mediumship and psychic skills? Yes. Now, mental illness covers a whole host of illnesses. So I would say, what one are we talking, or what two or three? Okay. If you're in a state of diagnosed depression, would I say, oh, you can't do it, but would I say you should be working as a medium at that point in time? No. I would say then, sort out what's going on in your mind, make yourself feel better, do what you have to do, prescribe with GPs, or if you're under a psychologist or a psychiatrist, then come back Okay, so to me that'd be like playing sports, playing football, doing something with the mind. If you're injured, would your coach keep telling you to keep going? No. So it's about looking after your mental health, but also about looking after you. A mentor always has to look after you as well. They cannot throw you to the lions, it would be wrong. And as well, when we meditate, now meditation's a skill, and that they'll tell you as well, that's to clear our head before we work. It's not about bringing a communicator in, it's just clearing our heads. If you're going through something traumatic that would trigger your mental health at that time, would you be able to work in that discipline maybe for, as I say, 6 months? Probably not. Would you find it harder every day? Would you then become frustrated with yourselves? Then has the knock-on effect of making you feel worse, watching your peers develop further. So I hope that answers your question, because yes, they can be in the right place, but also it depends what the mental illness is. Okay. And I'll quickly put it out there. I have a brain injury. I took 5 years' time, but then I took a year out. I had to work on me. As Socrates would have said, know thyself. And this comes down the years through psychology, psychiatry. Now we're into mediumship. Everyone will say, you've got to know you before you know someone else. That's factual. So you have to know where your head's at. So no, and you'll find probably, now this is just a blanket figure, do not quote me, but you'll probably find about 82% of the UK take antidepressants. Now those also treat OCD for the serotonin levels in the brain. So it's not just about antidepressants, because you've got OCD. All these kind of things come under mental health, remember? So that's what I mean with what are we looking at here. Okay, so thank you so much, Chris, for that. Okay, so commercial break, guys. Have a quick drink and we'll get a quick drink and we'll be back with you in 2 minutes.
The SPTV Divine Guidance Oracle Pack, a unique blend of inspiration and artistic beauty. Our captivating set of 78 cards combines the power of ancient archetypes, celestial guidance, and the essence of life itself to provide you with a unique tool for self-discovery, clarity, and transformation, all lovingly housed within an exclusive rigid box. The pack includes a booklet that delves into every card in detail, some of which carry dual meanings for deeper interpretation. The booklet also features 8 distinctive card spread layouts. Among these treasures, you'll discover 22 major arcana, 9 main archangels, 4 elements, and 40 life cards, each a work of art, radiating beauty and delivering profound messages that resonate deeply within your being. The SPTV Divine Guidance Pack, where beauty meets enlightenment. Pre-order today and unlock the extraordinary wisdom that awaits you. To be among the pioneers in experiencing our forthcoming collection and to reserve your pack in advance, as well as to access more details, including a sample audio description, kindly visit sptv.uk/cards. Tomorrow night from 8 p.m, SPTV is joined by another guest who will be demonstrating their mediumship abilities by offering free readings to our viewers. This Sunday from 11 a.m, Wimbledon Spiritualist Church hosts the Divine Service, with online and on-location readings.
Well, hello everyone and welcome back. And hi for you that have just joined tonight in Spiritual Psychic TV. Lovely to see you all this evening. Okay, now what we've been doing this evening for you that have missed it is we're actually doing live development tonight. So it's Psychic TV with us this evening, and we're actually talking through the mechanics and the concepts of how we actually work with mediumship, how the mind works, how the brain works, and how we then put that into a live scenario. Okay, We have the lovely Natalie here, Natalie Walker, and Natalie is a student that's gone through live demonstrations, and she's done 2, guys, so if you can send her all the love in the world, because next what we're going to do is we're going to work with a card together. Now, a lot of mediums, if you're a natural medium, sometimes working with a card can put you off, but these cards in Psychic TV, you can pre-order them, they are very visual. Would I say they suit neurodiverse community as well? Absolutely, because there's so much visual in them. And this is what we do. We can go to the psychic. Now, Natalie and I will bounce off each other with this card, and this is the very first ever we have done this and live. So we've got double bubble, guys. Okay, buy one, get one free. Okay, so I've Richard. Do we do the numbers? Okay, so what we do is Richard will put the card up, so we'll take a number. Is it 20 to 70, Richard? Okay, a number between 1 and 76. And then what will happen is, whoever picks that number, you pick the number, then the person will come up. We'll then get a card from Richard. Okay, Natalie and I will look at this card, and then when we come in a bit in the psychic, okay, what we can see, and we'll also do what we call springboard over to the spirit world or the afterlife, and we will work with a communicator in that card. Okay, now as I say, this is the very first live we've done this together as well. Again, experimental purposes only, guys, and for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so if we can get that number, are you ready, Natalie?
Yeah.
Are you as nervous as me?
Yes.
Like when Natalie, you pick.
27.
Right, okay, so we have number 27, that's Wendy Payne. Okay, so Wendy, we're going to get a card, okay, from the Oracle decks or the Live deck, Richard, the beautiful cards. This is the first Natalie's seen them. Now, I'm going to take a little sip, and I suppose you all know the Scottish, I hope. This is I Am Blue. Okay, I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm not drinking wine. In fact, I would actually tell any students, I would tell any medium, you cannot drink alcohol. The reason being is when you're reading live or taking anything recreational, anything, because your mind is totally open. Okay, and it means then you're taking every part of information in. Okay. Okay, so thank you, Richard. Now, as I say, what we'll do is the twos will bounce into this card, as we say. We're going to link in. Natalie, do you want to go first? We'll do this.
No, I'll let you go first.
Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to work this first, okay? And if, guys, you can all see the photograph, okay? So we've got the Archangel Chamuel, okay? We see the beautiful, handsome looking man there, okay? And I'm going to pull in what I would call psychically here. Wendy, thanks very much, okay? And straight away when I look at this man, that would tell me I'm going to springboard within seconds to the spirit world, okay? Because I do know I have a man here. Okay, when I look at this card as well, when I'm communicating with a man, I do feel dad, father-in-law, okay? I do want to come round about the heart. Now, if we look at that card, looking at the heart area around about that card, we've got that big, beautiful picture, but that also tells me we had sore tummies, we had sore chest area. I come to the heart, and if I look down at where his heart, there's the heart on the cards, the fire around the heart, the hands. that would also tell me is then, again, I'm coming into stomach problems here, okay? Now, at one point, Wendy, if you can just write, yes, I understand that, what part you understand, that'll help push me a bit more, and it'll also help me get back into my flow, okay? Even if you don't, give me a shout and we'll place it properly. Thank you, Wendy. Okay, so would that make sense? I do want to say as well, when I'm looking at this card, again, we take everything as mediums. We would take everything from that card, because you can tell from one card a huge story of a communicator or someone's life if I come into the psychic, Wendy. Okay, now I do know as well, I do know I had sore hands, because if we gaze down at the man's hands, his hands were sore. I do want to say as well, now it's interesting, I cannot see arthritic, but I do see rheumatoid, okay? So I know we were looking at two different ailments round about his hands as well. I do as well, I sense the knees, because the knees are cut off here. So I do know it had sore knees as well, and thanks very much for that validation, Wendy. So we do have that, okay? I do know as well, now I do know as well, I did take poorly because my head's fuzzy when I look at all the lights, okay, behind the archangel there. And it's quite interesting, even the archangel here. I do want to say as well, I'm looking at the art now, the halo as well would be a link to spirit world back in the day. So I do know Dad knew his time was coming. And I do feel it was spoke about, but not too verbally with everyone, if that would make sense with you, Wendy. Okay. Again, I do want to say as well, when I look at, again, I'm looking at angels, so I want to say the name Michael would link in somewhere. Funny enough, I've just changed that to Michael, okay? And again, this is how we work, because that looks like Michael, it's a blur in my eyes now by this point. And I do want to say as well, Michael and the bill. So I've just looked at the bill programme from those words. So no, Dad would have liked the good old programmes back in the day, okay? Now that is very generic, but I'm looking at COP programmes here. Now the number 27, that would take me then, that actually takes me to the month of July, okay? But I do want to come back here, and I want to, when I go to the month of July, I feel Dad was poorly quite a few months before he passed. Okay, I'm not saying he passed in July, because I don't feel I'm going right into July for that passing, but I do know I'll come back a few months, and that's why I see that in July. I look at the month of February, okay, and I do know when I'm looking at the month of February, I've just seen daffodils, so I know that would be a passing there as well, because the gold leaves will actually take me there as well when I look at the gold and the little sparkles, okay? And I know as well, his mother would be in spirit, but your grandmother's here, because she's the highest on that card with that light bulb, and it has to be the women in the family, Wendy, okay? So I know my light bulb moment comes to my grandmother as well, okay? Now, Natalie, can you see anything in that card? What do you see in the pictures of that card? What do you feel? What do you see?
I don't know.
Right, okay. Psychic. Wendy, we're going to come to the psychic and see can we feel anything or see anything around about Wendy. Look at the card and what's the pictures in your mind at the same time. Remember how you work.
Right, so from this card, I do feel that Wendy, you are in a strong position at the moment. You are where you need to be at the moment, and I feel like this is to do with your health as well. I also know that from these cards, these wings tell me that you're pretty much just taking off. You're just taking off, and I want to say also though that you've walked away from a few situations to get to where you need to be right now. And I know that you possibly put a few people out the door as well. So that is what the winds are telling me. I do know from this, I am getting quite drawn to the chest area. So I know that there would be a chest condition going on around you at the moment. Maybe not you, but around you, there is a chest condition going on at the moment that is flaring up and causing a lot of issues. I'm just what else I'm seeing from this. I'm stuck, Clara.
Right, okay, so you've came with the chest conditions, that's okay when you've looked at the card and you see that. Now, don't go into your mind here. This is where it's like, just quickly close your eyes, look at the card. You've came to your chest hearing because you've always got to say legally we're not doctors, go to a conventional doctor first. However, you must see what you see. Or say what you see, okay? And what would you say with the grandmother there? Okay, so we're going to go back to, well done, Natalie. So you were spot on. Thanks very much, Wendy, for validating that.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to now take it back to the medium world, okay? Because you do have a communicator there, as you know.
Yes, I do. I have got a grandmother. I have got a grandmother with me. Right, so like I said, I'm going to springboard over now. I do have a grandmother with me. This grandmother is making me aware that she also had chest problems because she is taking me to her chest. I also know that this lady would have had trouble swallowing near the end of her life. And I also know that this lady, she enjoyed making like apple crumble and stuff like that. She made all of her pies from scratch. So I do know this lady made the best apple crumble because I could almost taste it. I could almost taste it. She was also making me aware that she would have liked making all of our jams and that as well. And I want to say specifically blackberry jam. Blackberry jam, because she's shown me the blackberries. And I also know that this lady would have knitted. She would have knitted because she has shown me her knitting with her hands. I do know that this lady was quite a feisty lady. Quite a feisty lady, especially the older she got. The older she got, she had a bite. She had a bite, bless her. But I also want to say she could have been the sweetest wee soul as well, though. I want to say when she was around people that she wasn't that comfortable with or the other community, I want to say Gran did make it seem like she was the sweetest little soul. And she did get on with everybody. She did get on with everybody. I do see her going out to the bingo, so I know she did like a wee thing at the bingo. And I do want to say that Gran did have a win as well. There was one point where Gran had a win at the bingo. But she's just coming through with her love and her spirit, her energy, to be quite honest. Her energy. I feel like you need that little pick me up at the moment. And she's just coming through just with that, just to pick you up, because I feel like that's what you need at the moment. But I will leave you in love, and thank you very much for allowing me to work with Wendy.
There you go. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much for validating that, and thank you so much, Natalie. Like I said, that was both of us put our necks in the line. That's the first ever live we have worked together, and working with the beautiful angel cards and oracle cards from Psychic TV. So that was a huge thing to work like that for both of us, and especially Natalie. Okay, and thanks very much for all the validation. That means so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so that shows how it can be done. We can work together, but again, it's not a competition. We all work together. We just want to see each other doing well. Never ever be in competition with any other medium. What I would say, or psychic, is what I would say is aspire to be them. And then it always gives you that, my goodness, I want to keep trying. And I always learn so much through Natalie, believe it or not, as much as she's my student. I still learn through Natalie because Natalie's fantastic at bringing the feelings and emotions. Whereas at times I can just be a JCB, okay? And okay, so it's learning for me as well. As human beings, we learn off each other every day. The minute we stop learning from each other, it's gone. Okay, so it shows how easily we went from medium to psychic, and using those cards was the main thing. You can springboard over. We'll hear people out there saying you cannot do it, that's wrong. No, it's not. I'm sure Wendy would tell you there was nothing wrong about that reading. Okay, yes, we can get no's, but we can still come to both areas, because psychic is not a dirty word out there, guys, and sometimes we hear this a lot. You could grieve your home, you get emotionally attached to homes. You could grieve your job, get emotionally attached to that. Or you're just looking for guidance. Again, that's a big thing about these cards. We can pick up what's going on, as Natalie done to a T. She picked up what was going on about Wendy. And like I say, the cards are very visual. So much to take from them, but also they're very good for visual. If you're neurodiverse and you're a visual, then I'd say that's the card. And that's the cards we're going to be using in our own full circle. And we're all starting a journey together. So thank you. Now, do you fancy another one, Natalie?
Oh, God.
Yes. And we'll try and do
Clara,
one.
Clara will tell you, right, and I will put my vulnerability out there at the moment. I am not keen on cards. I am not keen on cards. So Clara doing this is putting me straight on the spot. It's one thing that I am not comfortable with yet. So thank you, Clara.
And that's what it's about. Sometimes we've got to sink or swim. And I don't mean that awful. Do I believe in pushing people outside their comfort zone? Absolutely not, because it can do more damage in the long run. However, I know Natalie can go with that. She feels comfortable. Yous have all made her feel so comfortable. Richard has made her feel comfortable. Terry, that comment there, thank you so much. That's made her feel comfortable, and it's made me feel comfortable. And Natalie and I are comfortable with each other. That's a huge thing, and that's what it's about again. And there you go, Natalie. Did you read that from Wendy? See that beautiful comment?
Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, quick cough, guys. But also, Natalie, as you said, again, it's showing vulnerabilities, humans, but also mediums and psychics. If we cannot show that and show arrogance all the time, there's no point being. Okay, doing what we do, because we can be wrong. Was I comfortable doing cards? Absolutely not. When you're a natural, one thing, it's harder to come into the other, and vice versa. Some people are natural with cards. Do they find it harder with their communicator? Yes, but it's manageable. It's about your commitment, as Natalie said, your time, your energy, and what's going on in your life. Okay, so Natalie.
15. 1 to 40. I'm still going to go with 15. 15. 15, yeah, 1 5.
Natalie Bentley's case number 22, Natalie. Hi, Natalie. Lovely to meet you this evening. So we've got 2 Natalies up. Okay. So, Natalie, we're just putting your card coming up, and hopefully, if you're okay with it, Natalie and I, but what we say, Natalie W and I will then. Oh, so we're going to get into another reading. Okay. Now, if you just bear with us, like I said, this will be the second live now that we've worked together. And guys, just send all your love hearts. This is all we need, love hearts. We need all the love in the world. Don't even care what colour they are. Okay, so we're just waiting your card coming up, and we'll go ahead and we'll start reading. And I'm just even looking at your picture, Natalie. I would say straight away again, Natalie, what you picking up, because I want to go to Dad's side.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
I want to say she's a steady dad.
Okay, so this is how we work together as well. The two is communicate with each other as mediums as well, and there we go. So we have the beautiful card, the Devil. nothing wrong with a devil now and again. Okay, because we've all got that little bit of devilment in us. And Natalie, do you want to take this away with Dad first? Work with the communicator, work with the card?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Okay, so Natalie, she's holding a communicator, which is a big discipline in mediumship. She's holding that, and I'm going to shut up in a minute. Holding her communicator, then she's going to use the card, what she can in that card to describe Dad, or even Dad-in-law. Okay, take it away.
Right, so from this card, the devil, it doesn't always mean the devil. I want to say I am really drawn to the open hands. The open hands is what I'm drawn to on this card. And I know straight away Dad would have open hands to anybody that come into his life, as long as they stuck by his set of morals. If they broke any of his morals or any of his, if he broke your heart, that was it. Dad would not take any of that nonsense. That's what I get from that card. I want to say Dad was quite he was proud of his daughters, and I want to say daughters, so I do know there is more than one daughter. And I do want to say there's actually three. Three would be significant there. But I also want to say that even though Dad was quite an open-handed man, you know, like he would put his hands up if he made a mistake. Dad would put his hands up if he made a mistake. He is also making me aware that he was a family proud man. He was very family proud. Yes. Would you understand? Sorry, I'm asking questions. Dad's showing me him driving, so I know Dad would have drove quite a bit. And I want to say that if Dad wasn't happy with something, I do know Dad would take himself away out in the car, and Dad would go for a drive to think about things. Only that's me that's got that wrong then. Right. I also want to say that Dad had quite a heavy heart. A heavy heart. I want to say that Dad could. What's the word I'm saying? Like Dad could, even though he had the widest open hands, I do want to say that Dad did shut quite a lot of people down in his life. Did shut quite a lot of people down in his life. And I want to say this was near the end of his life. The end of his life. But I'm going to pass you on to Clara now, because I am kind of struggling a wee bit now. So Clara, I'll let you continue.
Well done, Natalie. You're not struggling, okay? Nothing's ever a struggle. Well, it is a struggle in our minds. However, the smallest thing can mean the world to someone, and never forget that. And thanks very much, Natalie, for validating that for Natalie, because that means the world, okay? We need that validation as well, yes or no. It doesn't matter what you're actually validating now. And bang on with her Dad, he was a family man, he would have had a heavy heart. And if we look at the card now, am I right, Natalie Walker, and saying when we look at the heavy heart as well, we're also looking at the chain there, but we're also looking at the heart. If I look above his head, now that light's here, but that's a picture of a heart upside down. Okay, so that tells me there was a slight rupture somewhere within the family. And when Natalie said sisters here, I want to come to what I would say religion as well, because I would see the sisterhood, okay? So that would mean there was religion, and Dad would have a sister. Okay, I do want to say as well, when I look at this card, I do again come down now, the chain round about my neck. I feel Dad was chained to family in a way that everything was family. Everything was family. Nobody get in. Okay, now, and that, for anyone that reads a traditional tarot, the Rider-Waite, whatever, the devil would come in as an addiction card. Okay, but again, that could be addicted to anything. Right, okay, it's not necessarily recreational, substance abuse, it could be non-substance, okay, or it could be thoughts in our heads. So, okay, so just to break that down. Now, I also do know as well, now I can't remember if Natalie said this now, I do know his hands, he worked with his hands, but I do want to say I couldn't work with them as the longer Dad had. Okay, so he had 4 sisters, so I want to say the sisterhood, I apologise for that, they're not religious, okay, but I still, that's me taking sisterhood from sisters, okay, that would be all the sisters, right. I do want to say as well, Dad would have been a city man as much as I was a family man. When I look at the red round about here now, that's passionate, okay. I don't feel it's anger, I feel it's more a passion, okay. And Dad had passion, and it was more like addiction to family. Nobody get in round about the family, okay. I do know as well Dad was a sturdy man, because when I look at the devil here, I want to stand up straight. So I know nobody go in, and I would, now we say with it, never disturb a sleeping lioness, but I feel Dad could be all, okay. We don't disturb Dad, especially don't disturb my family, okay. I feel Dad was the main man. That's the way I want to put this, Natalie. I do know as well, when I look at 22s, I do want to say 2 little ducks here. So I do know them, when I've got 2 little ducks, I know there's grandchildren there, okay? Because I see the swan element, and that wing takes me to a swan, okay? When I look at that, so when you clip a swan, or a swan clips someone outside, you're talking about breaking an arm. Okay, and it's the last thing we want to do. We want to stand beside a swan. So that tells me that's how protective your Dad became. He would have became so protective of grandchildren. Okay, I do want to say as well, and it's funny, not religious, but when I look at that chain again, your Dad was quite educated, because that when I look at that chain, right, no grandchildren, right, can I place the 2 children somewhere else? Because I'm still hanging on to 2 children here, and I've got that wrong. That's going to be another communicator coming through in a moment. Okay. I want to say as well, when I look at that, would you understand Dad being educated? And I don't feel too much academia, but I know cultures. I sat and watched different things. Okay, because that's a set of eyes when I look at that chain. Okay, now if you can just sort of validate that, and I'm going to ask you to type as fast as you can, Natalie, get those fingers on the button. Okay. Thank you. Now, I do also want to say, because that's 2 eyes here, so I know where I've watched everything that goes on in the world. I do want to say as well, when I look at that card, again, I'm going back to Natalie when she said the hands here. My hands really were sore, okay? And I sorted out mess, okay? And I do want to say I would have sorted out family mess, okay? And I don't mean my family mess as in the brain would go to the negative, but I feel just like family squabbles. Dad was everything here. Ah, right, so he was quite brainy. Right, I like to hear that, okay. But I do know as well, it was agriculture, but he was a sit back and watch man. I see the name John there, okay, so John would come in, because I've watched everything, and John would be quite a watcher. I know James would come in, a very popular name, and we can't take names away, because people say, well, anyone gets that name. Oh, spoiler alert, we're in the UK, and there are popular names, so it's trying to pin business down if we're going to put a name out where they would be. And if you would say no, then I'm going to put that to the neighbours, okay? So I know that was a friend that Dad had, but I still want to put James in that family and Joy. I do want to say as well, Natalie, I'm still going to come back to the 2 kids somewhere, okay? And I feel I'm looking at 2 children, but I want to educate these children. So I know someone would be teaching somewhere as well, or we're looking at teaching somewhere within the family, okay? We've got that change of career, because again, when that card came in, the card came out to me, okay, Mum's bro was John. Well, there you go. So there's my John is validated. Okay, does that make sense? Doesn't have to know a John, but we will put that where it should be. Okay. But I do want to say we're looking at education as well at the moment, and we're looking at these journeys in life. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to know the James. We're just going to put that out with, because I know James would come in from Dad's side. That could be the friend, because I do want to get back in time here with James, but not too far in time, okay? I'm certainly not going to go to the 1970s here or 1980s, but I do know that will place there with Dad. Okay. Right, thank you so much. So that's where I'll put the educational side too, because I do want to also look at someone doing teaching here and crossing on. So thank you very much for that validation, Natalie. I do want to say as well, now I'm just waiting, I'm going to start wrapping this up, because I do want to say as well, when I look at that red light at the back of the card here, Natalie, you were ready to link in with me and come back in here with your communicator. I do want to say as well, when I look at that red light there, that's where I'm looking at different educations, but I feel something has just been behind me, and I do want to say I want to bring that forward again. Okay, so I know I've started losing interest in some things, but I want to bring it back forward, and I don't want to say life's going to be okay, because I feel that's a bit of a cop out when we're reading, because we can never guarantee that. It's also what we would call the burn of been reading that was, but it's a case of bring things back to the fore, Natalie, and start looking at your goals, because that is a goal that's sitting. Well, then his boss was Jim, so Jim would be James, okay, so that would make sense, okay, so thank you for the validation, but I'm going to come back to the card if you don't mind, Natalie, okay, so I do want to put your goals back in place, and I do want to say, look at your past, look how far you've come, but look at something you missed out. I feel a missed opportunity there, okay, and I want to bring that back in, okay. Now, Natalie, I'm going to get Natalie quickly to come in and wrap this up as well, and boom, 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 Natalie, go.
Right. And from that, I do know that you would be looking at study, because I'm looking at study here, and I want to put it in like nursing, some sort of nursing industry. I also know that you are looking at the physics as well. I've given me the month of March and the month of September, so I know the month of September would be significant, and I do want to put the month of September as a passing. Maybe not his, but I do want to put it as a passing. Who's cutting out? Is that me or you? Right. Right, okay. Right. Yeah, and I also want to say gladioli. He's bringing in gladioli, so I know gladioli would be significant in some way. And I know that there would be a ring here as well, because he has drawn me to my finger, so I do know that there would be a ring left here. So, okay, right, that's fine. But I will leave you his love now. And he's definitely saying go back to the studying. Go back to the studying, because I could see books in front of you as well. So I'll leave you his love, and thank you for allowing me to work with you, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Natalie. So there you go again, it shows how we work, how we use cards, how we use pictures, how we connect with each other. But again, not everything's right. And most importantly, when we work as mediums and doing card readings, it's about delivering wording. Because Reiki is a healer, okay, so you would work with the energy, you're working with the quantums, but also nursing is a healing job, okay? So when you're doing Reiki, yeah, it's not about what I would call a Slater medium or a Burton medium making it fit. Absolutely not. Because we would then start to narrow that down at one point, okay, to say, right, where are you looking to go, Natalie? But both do come from that area. So it's like, so you're doing healing in one thing, and that is fantastic. Take your Reiki, but it's us delivering words, because I said lost opportunity, and you couldn't take that. So to me, that's saying there's something in the past, and I'm going to get back, and it's not lost. What I would say is something you didn't pick up, and thank you, Natalie Walker, because she picked that up for me. Okay, so she done well. She picked that up that I didn't pick up. I worded that wrong. And again, this is what it's all about as well. We have to take ownership of our mediumship. We have to take accountability as humans. And this is a huge, huge thing, even in the world out there. It's like if we tripped over a bowl, it was a dog bowl. Is it the dog's fault? No, it's our fault. So we take about accountability in how we word things. We have to be with different cultures, careful how we word things. We have to be PC correct. And a big part in mediumship is delivery. and we need to learn to come in line with that. So thank you so much, because like I say, that's a huge opportunity for both of us tonight, and for especially Natalie. That is huge. Okay, so thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Millie.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Natalie, do you want to read them?
Thank you, Nicola. Thank you. Yeah, I would say thank you for allowing me to come on today and allowing me to read for you. And yeah, it's been a great opportunity. Great opportunity.
There you go, my girl. Well done, Natalie. Well done, Natalie. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Okay, and see how Natalie brings that softness? That's what it's about. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And thank you for all the support for Natalie and myself, but much needed support and the love for Natalie tonight. Okay, and good night, everyone, and goodbye from Spiritual Psychics TV. I need to drink now. Okay, so thank you, everyone, and bye-bye, and enjoy your weekend.